survey, yeah. I was just curious, as I started to think about it, I really wasn't sure, so. Nothing, that's nothing urgent, it was on my mind.
I'll call the meeting to order with the pledge of flag.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the December meeting is in order. Mr. Oakes and Mrs. McNabb are here tonight. Anybody wish to address council tonight? From the all right, can I have a motion to accept the council minutes of November 1? Any questions on those? All those in favor? Opposed, same. Motion to pay the bills? Any changes, Debbie? Any questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion to accept the fiscal officer's monthly financial report. Any questions? All those in favor? Any opposed? No old business. On my list, anybody have old business they want on?
Yes,
Go ahead.
so we're still working on that condo, that water issue that Kevin brought to council's attention. Dave and I have gone up there and that Dave shot some elevations. Now we have some information that I'm going to get with Daryl and Dave, myself and Kevin, to set a time up on this warm. And hopefully, I'd really like it for the have standing water up there so we can actually see what's going on. So, you know, but you know, if we get a chance to meet between now and the year-end meeting, keep everybody, we've got some good information.
Okay, whenever you.
I'll just keep everybody posted.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on that? Any other old business? New business, the audit. The audit report is in there, good reading. Usual great audit, great audit.
Yeah,
nice job.
Read on it, not so much good reading.
We like it when they say no issue.
Yeah.
No issue. What is that? I think we found no exceptions.
Yeah.
Their audits are so good, they use the short form, and just pull a few things. They don't
I
really
think
do the big audit. It's
Ms. Runzer should be congratulated for her abilities. This was a very thorough, obviously, audit. We joke about it, but only because we have no problems.
We never have problems, yes.
And
Yes.
but for her to keep it that way,
Yes.
her hard
Yes.
work and effort shouldn't go, we shouldn't just step aside and say, well, that's the way it normally is. Doesn't happen.
We have not had ever audit issues, but many places have, and it's a bad,
Once you get it across here, you'll be out.
yes. Okay, resolution in 2024, did you want to do that to year end, Debbie?
Yeah, we'll do it here, and I wanted to take a look at public record policy, maybe Aaron can help me go through that and see if there was any update you've done.
Okay,
Happy to do that.
we'll have that on it to year end. The employee handbook is there for your perusal now. No action tonight. There are 4 sections that are a lot of reading. Now, the changes are in red. The drug-free workplace, the IT confidentiality, order of state requirements, and sexual harassment are all extensive new language. Those 4 things. The rest of it is just clarifying some some words here and there and that kind of thing. You almost have to look for where the red is for the rest of it. But, look it over. I want to do this at the year-end meeting to approve the employee handbook. So it can be distributed to the employees the first of the year for our new handbook. It's been since 20, I think was the last time it was revised. I think it's been about 4 years. So it was due. And I would say that Debbie and Chrissy did every bit of the work on it. They looked for the areas that just needed a little clarification and came up with the language. And they also came up with all the language on these other 4 areas, I believe with Aaron's help. And so,
And Chrissy, her background, she has an extensive background in employee and labor relations, so really.
really use that. Utilize that. Mayor had no hand in that one.
One thing that just I want to bring to everybody's attention, because this is becoming for employers, the marijuana zero tolerance policies can be tricky to navigate sometimes. Unlike alcohol, and maybe, Chief might have something to add into this too. You can test positive for marijuana long after the use, it's in your system for testing purposes long after you're, let's say, under the influence of it. And so for alcohol and things like that, if there's an incident, an accident in a vehicle or something like that that requires a test, somebody may test positive for using marijuana. The language of this proposed zero tolerance policy is that it's zero tolerance and be subject to discipline up to and including termination. Now, it doesn't say you're automatically terminated if it appears in your, but some places are going to an approach where if you're under the influence of it at the time of the incident versus if you have it in your system.
Well,
So
you get into trying to prove who's under the influence. So the
Right.
stronger
That's
language,
tricky
the
too.
stronger language would give you more options.
I think that it does. I think you want to make sure that you're not painting yourself into a corner where you're not prepared to carry out some kind of discipline, because you are subject, if you have it in your system, I believe, and you tested for it, you would in fact be subject to discipline. So,
Well, I would say that we would not be carrying anything out without your stamp on it.
yeah.
I
Well-
learned that in my last job. Don't move until the attorney is checked.
Right.
So I don't think you need to worry about.
And I think this language is perfectly consistent with everything else that's been adopted. It's just that has proved kind of a tricky spot for some folks where their language says if you fail a drug test, you're immediately terminated. That's not what this language says, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we
Yeah.
have flexibility here, the way it is currently written. We
Right.
don't need to make it softer.
Right. I think that's right. I think there would need to be some discipline if somebody tested for it, even if they weren't under the influence of it. But it does not require termination. It doesn't have to be anything heavy-handed. So,
I believe that it talks about some counseling.
yeah, there's the,
So.
yep.
Option 1, maybe something like that. So, we have to do our part to keep everyone safe.
I'm with you.
Yeah, and that would be.
I understand these things.
No, your question was if I don't know. I'm certainly not an expert on it. Yeah,
You'll become an expert if we ever have an issue.
I know other employers where it's already become an issue.
Mhm.
Where they say, we know this did not contribute to the incident, but because there was an incident, there had to be a test. Because there was a test, it was a positive test, and now we're on the ladder of discipline, let's say. So,
I think it matters if the person has a CDL.
probably, I would assume, I don't know that for a fact, but I bet that would absolutely be the case. Yeah.
Standards.
What's the policy on testing though? When do we require a test and when don't we require a test?
I'd have to verify.
Would that be in here?
I don't know, but my point is if typically your insurers are gonna require somebody to go for a test if there's an accident in a vehicle, because they like to find somebody else they can point the blame to.
I think
So,
there's language in there someplace that we can require a test.
at any time.
Whenever we need
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
When we feel we need it. For something. As long as we're willing to pay for it, which we always are. I think you'll find that there.
Yeah. And you don't, I mean, I don't know if there is a regular randomized testing. I would imagine an employer this small there, you don't do regular random tests. But whenever you need to, you can do one. Yes, yeah. So in any event, I just wanted just food for thought in case that's on anybody's mind or is an important issue for anybody. I just wanted you to be aware of that because that is something you could run into some issues with. I think the language is drafted. I think it accomplishes what you need to because it gives you the flexibility, but it's worth mentioning.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on the employee handbook at this point?
So you want everybody to review this before the year-end meeting?
Yes, and you won't have any problem reviewing the handbook itself because there's so few changes. Where you're gonna have the time is on those 4 issues I mentioned, where there are several pages involved on drug-free workplace, IT, confidentiality, audit of state requirements, and sexual harassment. Those are the 4 areas I found for some more extensive, there were extensive changes or additions.
And that auditor state that that's the number.
Training.
That was it.
Okay, that'll be, we'll vote on that at year end. And the roster, please take a look at that. There have been some changes in that. And if you have any concerns, please don't wait till the meeting to throw them on the table. Give me a call.
My office number that's on here, my cell phone number on here is actually my office number. So,
That's okay.
well,
We don't want to give your cell phone.
I think you should have my cell phone on there too, because that's
Do you?
generally a better way to get a hold of me. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Debbie, would you see that Aaron's cell phone number is actually added there? I would have thought you didn't.
So
want
you're
that.
saying the number on there should be moved to the work
That's the
category?
work, that's my work phone. Yeah, that one's a little harder to catch me on some of the time.
That's what, and those are the kind of things you want to look for, that for you and for others. And as I said, the things you'll be, the committees you'll be on next year, some have changed a little bit, others not. And we'll approve that at the year-end meeting also. And I'll give you some time to respond to anything you might have for me on that.
When they call the 887-9110, after hours, where does that go?
It gives them 2 options. First one is if they want to report an incident and there's nobody that picks up, they press 1, and that automatically connects them to the sheriff's office. Then they have an option just to leave us a voice.
That would be all the new business that I have. Anybody else have any new business that we throw on now rather than bring up and once around?
Fire committee meeting?
Yeah.
You
You tell them, you're the boss on that, yeah.
So I went to the Township Fire Committee meeting yesterday. And my goal to going there was to just, now that the levy has failed, to see what their plan is moving forward. Whether they're going to form another committee to put something on the ballot in May, special election. They're gonna wait till November. They don't have a plan. There is a meeting scheduled, which I found out about at the meeting yesterday. On Tuesday, December 10th at 3 o'clock. It's either 3 or 3:30. We'll find out. We'll get a confirmation on it. And it's basically to kind of figure out what next steps are. So I would encourage, I can't be there because I've got a work conflict. I mean, I would encourage anybody that has the time to go. I mean, it's important for the village to find out what's going on with this and what their plan is going to be. And I'm gonna continue going just to get updates, at least, they have meetings twice a month, I'm gonna go at least once a month, just so I can just be updated and share with you the progress of it, but, so, it's. That's what I'll
Okay.
Tell you right now.
Any questions on that? Thank you. Appreciate that. Engineers report, Jason.
Real quick, Greenwich Road, we have a meeting with ODOT next Friday, progress meeting. We expect right-of-way plans to be approved very shortly, once that's complete. I'll work with the village on negotiations with the property owners for the slope easement. Still waiting on OPWC result to help fund with funding assistance for that project. I'll assume that's coming out real soon. And I did speak with Senator Brown's assistant about the CDS grant, and they still expect approval this December for the patrol car. So we'll wait here. I wouldn't keep my, I don't know, speed of government, but they think December. That's all I have.
The negotiations are not as we understood last month.
Yeah, no,
Jason has proposed, he and Dave, and I have added myself.
Probably,
Aaron,
yeah.
And Aaron to that.
So once the plans are approved, we have to hire a third party real estate firm. The one local ones, RC Coleman, they're very well reputable. They will give us a value of what they think each easement is for each parcel, and then we can approach the owner with that offer. Go from there. Yeah.
How many owners are we dealing with? I think there's four.
What is the proper way? To send them a letter with this, or do you sit down at the table?
We'll ask RC Coleman. Usually you just start with a letter, go from there. It requires phone calls after that. That's why ODOT gives us a year to get this done. I don't think it's gonna take that long, but we'll first start out with letters with a number on it.
And some face to face, we can do it. I think
Yeah.
that's the best way. Except for him.
If they all four.
He's gonna send his
Two
wife.
of the four in the room, so.
I think, any face to face you can do. And I'm glad to hear that we're involved because, they're gonna give an estimate of what it ought to be. The company.
Yeah.
What it ought to be. But by sitting at the table, sometimes it just takes a few reasonable things and you got a settlement on some of this stuff. And so I'm glad the village will be at the table to discuss this.
I'll keep Aaron posted.
And are these easements, this is money, are we allowed to use the grant money to cover that cost?
Yeah, it's everything's shared percentage wise. And that's why we're trying to get more from OPWC. I don't think OPWC will, but NOACA will.
Anything else, Jason?
That's it. Thanks.
Any questions for Jason? Police Department.
November's police report, we had 2 reports, 3 calls for service, 9 officer initiated calls for a total of 12. We did have 1 crash in the village, so that didn't get filled in here, but I'll make a correction to that. We had 10 officers, officer generated assists, 3 vacation watches. We had 2 assists to the Westfield Fire Department, 2 to the Sheriff's Office, 1 to Lodi Police Department for a total of 5. We had 4 traffic stops, no arrests, and 4 warnings.
Questions for the chief? Being none, we will have the fire department report.
In the month of November, we had 32 total incidents. They were broken down by 2 to Canaan Township, 2 in Guilford Township, 1 in Harrisville, 19 in Westfield Township, and 8 in Westfield Village. And they were broken down by our day shift and our night shift, with the day shift having 19 calls and the night shift having 13. We gave mutual aid to Canaan twice, Seville twice, and Lodi once. And we received mutual aid 4 times from Seville and once from Lodi. And the department updates. We've not missed any calls for service. EMS billing has been $16,876. And for the MVA fire billing, we've billed out $52,579.67. To date, we've received $4,859.10. We've had 9 resident transports, 9 non-resident, and 0 mutual aid non-resident. We hosted 3 field trips from Leroy United Methodist Church preschool, 2 on November 7th and 1 on November 8th. And under equipment and purchases, the emergency lighting package was completed on the UTV, and all the lights and siren were reused from the old chief's car. 2 new batteries were installed in Medic 1 for a total cost of $310. Tyler Hayden has resigned his position on November 30th. He's no longer with the department. And with the community, we assisted the Leroy United Methodist Church with the village-wide food drive on November 3rd and 10th. The Cloverleaf Kiwanis Club and Lodi Good Samaritans Food Pantry utilized our drive-through bay to distribute Thanksgiving meals on November 24th. We helped the Historical Society by hanging the wreath on November 25th. And last but not least, we delivered Santa by fire engine to the park circle for the tree lighting on the 29th. And the grants on the last page, still in status quo. Marks, we won't know until spring on that one. And I will have another one next month that's added to that for about $14,000 for some equipment. So that's all I have in my report, unless there's questions.
The MVA fire billings of 52,000 and 4,800 collected. Is it typically that bad?
Well, what you do is, we use a company called Cost Recovery. And we submit for our hours on scene on the fire side of it. And we submit for the engine and, you know, what officers are out there and personnel and what we have to do. But that goes to the insurance company. And, well, you and I get in a crash. Well, our insurance companies have to negotiate all that out. So we're on the insurance company's time.
So
we may not,
you expect a big hit coming back.
well,
for that.
we would hope.
Yeah, okay.
But sometimes we've gotten checks in the last couple of months from 22.
Okay.
So
I
it takes a while sometimes to get them back, but
Okay.
the individual homeowners or whatever they are that have your own policy, they take longer than what a commercial truck lines takes. So, and sometimes you don't get the whole amount.
Right. Okay. All right. I just wondered.
So that's where that comes from. We would like it to be much higher as well, so.
Any other questions for fire? Mr. Pittsburgher.
November's reports. Processed 3.88 million gallons of wastewater, filed the monthly EPA reports, performed all the required operational testing, and performed all the routine equipment maintenance. For Village Hall, we serviced the lighting system. The streets, we performed equipment maintenance, set up for the tree lighting, and continue to do leaf pickup. No activity at the cemetery. Winterized the bathrooms at the ball fields, and I issued 1 zoning permit.
Questions for Dave? Okay, mayor's report, nothing in mayor's court, but you do need to know that as often as not, they're sent over to Wadsworth anymore. Because I don't do not guilty pleas. Also, Mr. Cox has sent us a Christmas email. And we have forwarded that on to the insurance company that they can be aware of his concerns. Since it,
Did we advise him the same?
Pardon me?
Did we advise Mr. Cox the same?
oh, I might have along the line, but not specifically each time. If I did that, I'd need a, you know, a regular send out every week or something, but no, I need to be facetious, but Kirk expects them. I've told Kirk that anytime we have something like that, he gets it. And I did check today, as a matter of fact, I asked, they said it had been sent over to him. Okay?
Great.
Law Director.
Nothing additional.
Okay, Mr. Bittner.
I have none.
Ms. Konick, what a great activity.
Yeah, and I thank
Even,
Dave and Chad for all their help, even though we had a missing Santa.
a late Santa, yeah.
Late Santa didn't understand to go behind the bank. He was behind it in, I think, and called him and.
It's a good thing he came. That's an activity you don't want to miss Santa. You had about 30,000 little kids out there.
Yeah.
Wait.
Teasing the kids.
I did hear a suggestion, which I don't know if it came from you, David, or somebody on the fire team, that maybe we have somebody on the fire team have a Santa suit that they can fill in the event that Santa.
Yeah, that might be a thought for the
So that might,
future.
that's a step down for next year.
It might have been the lieutenant that was there.
So that will be on the talking points for next year. We have a backup for Santa. It was done, and they had a good job. Hats off to everybody who showed up because it was awfully cold. If I were.
It was
I don't
cold.
know if I would have shown up.
But the horses are great. I mean,
That
that makes that thing. That's so real for everybody that,
Yeah.
my gosh, they're actually those Clydesdales there
Yeah.
pulling them. Yeah, it was good. And Judge Dunn handled the activity and
He
he
did really
did a
good.
nice job.
Nice.
Probably use him again, I would think, but because he was very good. So hats off, Val. You guys put together a nice program and it was a nice evening, even though it was cold. Yeah, it was cold.
Great team.
Okay, Mrs. McNabb and Mr. Oakes are absent. Mr. Robs, Mr. Walker. Next meeting would be Friday, the 27th at 8 a.m. And then Tuesday, the 7th, that's at 7 o'clock. But we will, we should at that year-end meeting have the meeting dates for the year there, so we can prove them. So we have an official for the meeting coming up in January, okay? Anybody have anything else? No executive session needed tonight? I guess I want a meeting, motion for adjournment. All those in favor?
All right.
December.